And then open data apps is one idea that came in one of the workshops that I had also participated. And then we created a challenge. Here is an open data. By the time about 3,000 data sets were there. Take this data and create apps. That is an open advertisement we had given about 3 months time. And then more than 300 entries were there, and they were evaluated, and it created further enthusiasm in the community, and that's how it picked up in the initial days. And last, I would like to put some kind of ideas for way forward. The need of the hour today, to take it to the next level of evolution is to enhance the quality of data. Meaning that the latest data should be put out, not 2009, 2010 or 2005 and 2006, but the latest data that they will probably and possibly near real-time data should be made available and should be relevant to the community at large. Based on demand-driven approach, that what is it that people are mostly downloading or mostly asking for. There is a suggestion column also in this, that people can ask for certain data set that they would like to suggest, please publish this data. So based on analysis of that kind of a data, demand-driven approach should be there, so that it meets the community's needs more closely. Then establish automated system. It should not be at the discretion of the data controller within courts, whether to put a data out or not, but it should be automated. Once you decide that these are the data sets, the system should automatically push it into the open data platform. In fact, in the government of AP, we are creating an enterprise architecture, which is the principle of open data is built into the architecture itself. Now that a new state is there, that's the advantage of a clean slate approach for us. We are drawing up that it is out in the open again, in keeping with the openness of the government. Once the Honorable Chief Minister had given the okay to this, we had put it for comments. It's available on our portal ap.gov.in. An enterprise architecture which is built. One of the key principles is the open data there as the foundation there. You can access that document and see. So what I'm saying is that it should not be by somebody's decision that, or somebody's mercy that the data comes out of the public domain, but it should be automatically, as a matter of right, it should come into the public domain. That is the third suggestion I'm making. And the fourth is to promote entrepreneurship around open data. That how can it be used for meeting the community's needs more closely? It is outside in view of what kind of services are to be provided, what kind of societies are more useful to the public and citizens of the country. So that sort of entrepreneurship, there are 100 different innovative ways in which the very same data can be molded, can be shaped and then made available to the public. So these are the suggestions for going forward, and I'm sure that workshops like this will create that kind of enthusiasm and momentum way forward. And states' participation today is little lukewarm, and workshops like this are going to heat up the environment and brighten up the prospects of open data becoming a real instrument for national development as this was originally intended to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I will invite Mr. Raymond Peter, the Triple Secretary of Panchayat Raj and Rural Department, Government of Telangana, who happens to be, for those of us who don't know, who happens to be the key data collector, data analyzer, and also the data user in these two states, AP and Telangana.
Dear Ramesh Garu and Satyanarayana, advisor to Government of AP and Former Secretary, Andrew Scott and Shashi and
మరి ముందుకు పోతా ఉన్నారు. ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఈ వర్క్ షాప్ లో చర్చించడం జరుగుతుంది. అందులో ప్రధానంగా తెలంగాణ ప్రభుత్వం ఆల్రెడీ చేపట్టిన ఇప్పటికే తీసుకున్న ఈ సమగ్ర సర్వే గురించి కూడా వివరించడం జరిగింది. ఈరోజు ఎంతో మంది విమర్శించినప్పటికీ, ఎన్నో రకాల అనుమానాలు వ్యక్తం చేసినప్పటికీ అవన్నింటినీ ఛేదిస్తూ నిజంగా కూడా ఒక ప్రపంచ రికార్డు లాంటి ఒక కార్యక్రమం సమగ్ర కుటుంబ సర్వే ద్వారా మరి తెలంగాణ ప్రభుత్వం చేపట్టడం జరిగింది. ఎందుకంటే మా ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారు చాలా స్పష్టంగా ఒక ఆలోచన నమ్ముతారు. అదేంటంటే సరైన సమాచారం లేనప్పుడు సరైన నిర్ణయాలు తీసుకోవడం కూడా కష్టతరం అవుతుంది. కాబట్టి సమగ్రమైన సరైన సమాచారం ఉండాలి ప్రభుత్వం వద్ద. దాంతోపాటు పారదర్శకత కూడా, ఎందుకంటే ప్రజల నుంచి మనం సమాచారాన్ని ఆశిస్తున్నప్పుడు మరి ప్రభుత్వం కూడా ఆ సమాచారాన్ని మరి
Flipkart wanted to link up with the handloom textiles, it became news. And everybody says that this is something new. Just because the Prime Minister of the country has ordered somebody to enter into an MOU, it becomes real big news. But then in day-to-day life, I think each of us is having a repository of data which needs to be put in the public domain. Even in SERV, I find there are specialists in various fields, but they keep this data totally to themselves because they feel that they're proprietary, I would say, if there's something called IPO, it's totally restricted only to them. They don't want to part with the data, with the things to be kept in the public domain. I think one of the most important thing is to create for platforms for open access, for open content, open knowledge, and then for others to comment. Recently, I had done the Manavur Mana Pranalika program, so done in a period of less than a month, where we had done this massive in-house exercise among panchayats. It's the first time perhaps in the country we have done. It's a mission mode project in the government of India. And let me tell you, in the mission mode project, it's totally unfriendly. We can't port data the way we would like. We can't port out the way in which the states are aggregated. So I had to look at the whole set of series, and ultimately I had to design my own sort of a database. And then when I asked the government of India, what are you doing with this Panchayat Raj? Why is it so unfriendly? You have developed a content management website for each state. It is so unfriendly, it looks like an Excel spreadsheet to me. And then they said this is a very major policy decision. If we have to change, it is not possible. So one thing is putting data on the public domain, but also cutting it across and putting it on a platform which everybody can read, knowing the rules of the game on various aspects. How can we make this open source, this data in it's open data, which could be useful for everybody? Can it be useful for research? In fact, when I started the ePass scholarship portal, in fact, whatever data that a medicine researcher wants, can have. I don't think so any state in the country has data where the subcastes of scheduled castes, the subcastes of backward classes, the subcastes of scheduled tribes are at what level of education, what level of funding, and whatever courses they are pursuing, what type of colleges are. So if you mine the information, you will get any amount of information. And I'm glad that the ePass website is being used by so many research scholars to generate PhDs after PhDs, though I have never had any time to get a PhD myself. Then the next important thing is we have data, and what are we doing with the data? It's all privy to the organization's concern. How do you think that we can really bring it for the greater common good? Recently we have done the household survey on 19, and yesterday we had a workshop of how we can utilize this survey to virtually do the prioritization and the categorization of people in different bands, from the poorest to the richest. What way it will be done and how should it be put in public domain and how could it be useful? In government, the most important thing that would be required for any policy maker or for anybody, or even in the field of journalism, I don't think so there should be any mysticism about the data. One big thing that I have been following is whatever I have been doing on the Manavur Mana Pranalika is put on the public domain. In fact, every pressman comes and tells me, so many people come and tell me in your website, we saw in this panchayat, they find that all the people in that particular village are afflicted with AIDS. So then I have a cause for action to find out whether it's really so or whether it's an aberration in data, and so on and so forth. So once you put it into public domain, when you put open data into public domain, I think it really opens up a lot of opportunities, a lot of transparency and accountability issues that kick in. And not only that, I can actually see that the citizens get engaged into this whole system. When we started this survey, I think the whole press, not only the state press, but even the national media, was seized with that this is to decide on racial profiling of Andhras and Telanganas. And I was really amazed at the way in which people can distort. But then the data is today up, the survey form was up, everything was up, and I really do not know why people have to really go to that extent of perverted interpretation of government institutions. So these are some things which, when they come into citizen engagement, the more people talk about, then there is greater chances for people to collaborate. And I think that's a big thing that's happened just about 2 weeks ago. And then out of that comes in sensitization of issues, sensitization of concerns of the citizens, and also areas which we think as policymakers we may have done a very good job, but then the citizens see it in a very different perspective. I think that's the big challenge that open data can really bring about. And once when we put all this data of the 1 crore 5 lakh households on the public domain, we will not be making available certain aspects for one's privacy. I think in this workshop we also need to see what happens on privacy issues and open data. That's also a very major thing. We can't get privacy issues. There will be issues relating to invasion of privacy. We'll have to see that. Once putting all this data onto the public domain, how does it make policies to look better? What we have been talking in the government in the last couple of days with the present Chief Minister, who's quite fascinated by these IT interventions. He says, can this data which is there be used by all departments across? Can Women Welfare Department use this data? Can the Sales Tax Department use this data? Can the Municipal Administration use this data? Can everybody log on to this particular data so that everybody knows who we are talking about? Come Agriculture Department, they have their own database, they have their own Excel spreadsheet in which they give their own little subsidies and fertilizer distribution, etc. Is there a way in which everybody can converge, collaborate onto a single platform using an open data which everybody can see? It's no longer a secret. Can everybody know what is the amount of loans which Trinity Bank is giving? Can everybody know who among these households is a self-help group member? Can anybody tell how much of loans that are being given under the SPH, under the bank linkage with self-help groups are being appropriated or misappropriated by a certain section of elite self-help groups? I think this is the big challenge that open data can really bring about. And I think this workshop is just in time to make home this point. And I think the more that we deliberate on this open source data, we will be in a position to enrich ourselves. The next important thing is in government, like evidence-based medicine, it's talked about in medical colleges, but then very rarely practiced because we have a commercial system, commercial dimension to our medical treatment. Can there be evidence-based planning? Can we say for the following reasons that this sort of a strategy is required, or just we paint the brush across the table and say that we will just go around making a plan which is not sensitive to the various issues that sees the public. Ultimately, data is not an issue. We have put our entire NREGA data. In fact, Shashi is also been, he is still continuing in rural development. We have put the entire NREGA database into the public domain. We have seen every aspect of NREGA is in public domain. Every aspect of social audit is in public domain. Every aspect of pensions are in public domain. You can go to the village, you can find out who are the pensioners. The question is, data is being collected by every department that is present. To what extent can it be compiled and put into the public domain for use by everybody? To what extent does it give entrepreneurial capacities for people to develop their own apps, to come up with so many things? We see in iOS application and Android application, there are so many apps coming by the way. There are apps which will track your heart rate, there are apps which will track your number of steps you walk. Why can't there be apps which can also be used by the government for certain things? So I think when we put the open data onto the platform, I think we will be able to get a lot of value add from the general citizens concerned. I have always believed that whatever data we put has to be real time, not being updated once in a fortnight, once in a month or so. I think if it is real time, it is always best. And that would really require a challenge. For example, today our household survey data is being entered onto the system, it's put on real time, it's on the public domain. How many applications have already been computerized? And finally, what would be the way in which this data will be made available to people? What would be the rules, the protocols that will be required? I think these are some things which we could deliberate during this workshop. I'd like to once again congratulate everyone, and I would like to thank Mr. Sankarana for that excellent presentation. Unfortunately, sir, though the open data has been spoken in Government of India, but I don't think so. I don't recollect of any invite any time in this last 5 or 7 years where the government has invited state governments to talk about open data or open data in workshops. At least I've been a very keen follower of IT-related events. So the open data was only in the domain of Delhi and not in the domain of the state governments. So I think we should make an attempt and do this, and I'd like to personally thank Parmesh for making this arrangement to make this workshop happen as a part of our TRITV and APRITV projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, we have Mr. Andrew Stott. He is a member of the UK Transparency Board, and he is also a senior consultant in the World Bank. I will invite him to kindly give his keynote presentation on the open data worldwide and what are the lessons learned in the last 5 years along with the best practices. Mr. Andrew Stott.